Screens are everywhere. We go all day, all night staring at these soul suckers, and at this point, they're controlling us more than we're controlling them. But do you know how these actually work?
No.
Let's rewind a little. So back when cassettes still existed and Shah Rukh Khan ruled Sunday television, we watched DDLJ on huge boxy dabba TVs called CRTs. These things were like tanks. They were heavy as hell. Moving one was a full body workout. But the way they worked was fairly simple. Imagine a huge glass bottle with all the air sucked out of it. So there's a vacuum inside. At the back, there's an electron gun that shoots tiny electrons super fast towards the screen like bullet guns from a gun. The inside of the screen is covered with tiny glowing dots, red, green, and blue. When these electrons smash into the dots, boom, they light up and make the colors. Coils around the neck use magnets to steer the beam back and forth, painting the picture line by line super quick, like 50 or 60 times a second. But man, these things were huge. They needed a ton of space behind for the tube. They sucked power, topped out around 40 inches, got hot, and could flicker. I mean, they worked for sure, but they were impossible to ignore. So naturally, people wanted something more compact. That's when we remembered this legend, George Heilmeyer. George, let's just call him George. He figured out how to control light and not throw it at your face. This idea became the LCD, or the liquid crystal display. And along came the new kid on the block, this super cool, flat, light, affordable, swaggy guy called the LCD television. Now let's see how these work. Let's assume your screen is a window and there is a backlight that is always shining super bright white light. Every pixel on the screen is split into 3 tiny subpixels. One with a red filter, one with green, and one with blue. RGB. That's what it stands for. Now these filters are what give the color. The liquid crystal layer sits in front of these filters and acts as a small gate or a shutter for subpixel. Millions of these RGB pixels, each with its own controllable twist gate, update thousands of times per second. The full moving picture appears. This is the core of how LCD creates images. Why old LCDs looked bad? Now, early LCDs twisted their crystals up and down, which basically means like a vertical motion. So when you looked from the side, the colors looked washed out, the blacks turned grey, and everything looked milky. That's why old LCDs had terrible viewing angles. That's when IPS quietly fixed the problem. IPS stands for in-plane switching. It's still the same window idea. It has the same always-on backlight. It has the same RGB color filters. But here's the genius change. In old screens, the tiny crystal rods twisted up and down like blinds flipping vertically. When you look from the side, that twist messed up the light path. Colors faded, blacks turned grey, everything looked milky and washed out. We discussed it. But in IPS, this was flipped. Now the crystal rods stayed flat and twisted sideways. The light stays controlled the same way, even if you're looking from the side or top or bottom. That's why IPS became the go-to for laptops, monitors, and any work or gaming screen where you don't want to be sit glued in front of the screen. Then enters OLED. For years, IPS was the best version of the window idea, but that's when OLED crashed the party and asked, why are we still messing with windows? It ditched the entire setup. So there was no backlight, there were no shutters, and here's a very basic way to understand how OLED actually works. Every single pixel is its own tiny lamp. So each time a pixel is on, it glows, and each time a pixel is off, it's completely dark. There is zero light, which is true blackness. It's not dimmed, it's not blocked, it's just off. That's the game changer. LCDs control light like a window blind. OLED is the light. The trade-off now. So OLED uses organic materials. If the same image stays on screen for years, logo, sticker, static UI, it leaves a faint window called burn-in. It's very rare now and screens are smarter, but yes, it does still exist. I personally use 27-inch IPS monitor, which is bright and fast and consistent, so there's no stress. And my phone is OLED because I end up watching a lot of content on my phone, even when I am sitting in pitch darkness. But there is no single best screen. It's like coffee versus tea. There is no single best screen. It really depends on the day. So tell me if you are team OLED or team IPS. And maybe after this, go touch some glass.